Hello everybody and happy Friday. Today is Friday, June 10th, 2021. I am your meteorologist named Kenny and welcome to the kickoff of this year's Summer Fun Bash, where I will be going over several different types of weather, what they do, and what impacts they cause. This is just one of them. My next one I believe is going to be on Sunday, and that one is going to be featuring all information about severe weather, how meteorologists forecast it, and even what radars we use to do all that. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up, and I have listed all of it on my website at www.liamsweather.org. If you go to my Summer Fun Bash page, I've listed all the details and all the dates right on there. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to comment those down in the live chat. Please feel free to comment anything down in the chat. I really like for all of you to interact with the chat. It makes streaming a lot more fun. And it makes it a lot more fun for you also as viewers. So definitely be sure to participate in that live chat. And once again, feel free to comment down any questions, comments, or concerns you might have. So as you can see, in this event tonight, I'm going to be going over all about hurricanes, hurricane season, and what impacts they bring to the United States. But before we start, once again, please be sure, if you have not already clicked that subscribe button, you are subscribed to the channel. Click that notification bell so that way you never miss out on an event, live stream, or even video. And also be sure to click that like button if you are enjoying the content. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let me see if I have any questions yet. Okay, not yet. So before we start, we do have a season called hurricane season. Now you might be asking what that is. Well, the Atlantic hurricane season is a period every single year that runs from June 1st all the way throughout November 30th, and that really is known for the area for tropical systems to form. And the systems that could form are either called tropical depressions, which form when winds rotating around the center of low pressure reach around 35 miles an hour. And then we get into tropical storms, which form when those winds reach 45 miles an hour. And then as soon as the winds reach 74 miles per hour, we have a hurricane that forms. So those are the three different types of storms that we see during hurricane season. And then as we go even into the Pacific Ocean, we still have the exact same type of storms. However, the names do change with them. So really, we still have that name for depression, but as far as the tropical storms go, and also the hurricanes, that's the one that changes. So right here, if we get a tropical storm, they are named as a tropical cyclone, and then whenever there's a hurricane, they call that as a tropical typhoon. As far as the wind stage go, they really stay the same. The only thing that really changes is the name as far as tropical storms and also hurricanes go. Now, I keep saying this word hurricane. What does a hurricane even mean? Well, a hurricane is a very strong to severe storm that forms over the Atlantic Ocean, Caribbean Sea, or even in the Gulf of Mexico that has extremely violent winds, very heavy rainfall possibly at times, extremely bad storm surge, and possibly even isolated tornado as the rain bands are coming on shore if we can get cold and warm air to meet. Now, how does a tropical system form? Well, it forms over a lot of very warm ocean waters. Once again, they form when winds reach about 74, 75 miles an hour. And then once again, it also turns into a hurricane. And just know that tropical storm forms in between when winds reach in between around 45 to 50 miles an hour. Now, when it comes to a hurricane, there are several different parts to it. Obviously, there's going to be some very calm parts. On the other hand, there's going to be some very strong parts. So as you can see, the most calm part is going to be the eye of the hurricane, and that is right here, this central dot right in there. That is the eye wall, and let me tell you, if you're in the eye of a Category 5 hurricane, if you step outside of your house, you're going to see perfectly clear sky. You're going to see a circle cloud above you, and you can literally say hi. I mean, you can literally look up and say hi to the sun. That is how an eye forms. Now, however, there are some very, very, very strong parts of a hurricane, and our most strongest part is going to be the outer cloud wall. So that is the cloud wall that basically surrounds the eye of a hurricane, and then usually that is where we have the strongest winds. So, for example, if we have a hurricane that has maximum sustained winds of 165, that outer cloud wall is where we're going to find all those winds gusting possibly over around 160, even to 170 miles an hour. Now, we also do have a lot of outer bands that are also circulating around that center of low pressure. Now, let me tell you, they may not look like much, but a lot of times we see more severe weather in these little outer bands that are circling the hurricane than we do in the eye wall. And the reason because of that is because as the hurricane is making landfall, any moisture that is right along the coastline of where the hurricane is, that is all being driven northward into those systems. And then as that air is rotating, then we can possibly even get severe thunderstorms or maybe even an isolated tornado if we can get two different air currents rotating in different directions. So those are the different parts of a hurricane that we have. Now, as far as categorizing hurricanes, there's different ways we can categorize them. Number one, by how much damage they leave, and also the strongest wind speeds. Still no comments yet, which is a very good thing. So as you can see, a hurricane has 5 different categories, and each one has a different wind speed. So let's start off from low to high. We have a Category 1 that starts off with winds around 70 to 74 miles an hour. Then we get into Cat 2, which is just under 100 miles an hour. Category 3 is about 110, 111 miles an hour. Category 4, now we're getting into major category stage, is very, very high, 130 miles an hour. And last but not least, Category 5 is catastrophic. Winds well over 150 miles an hour. And then here's the chart. Let me step out of the camera just so that way you all can see this a little bit better. So obviously, once again, Category 1 has wind speeds around 74 to 95 miles an hour. And we really don't expect to see too much damage with that. Maybe a couple of power lines, maybe a couple of trees or limbs down, but really not that bad. As we get into Category 2, then we're going to be seeing winds around anywhere from around, I guess you could say 100 to 110 miles an hour. And we can definitely see a little bit more damage when it comes to that side. As far as the Category 3 goes, now we're getting into some of the higher categories, and we could be seeing winds with that anywhere from around 111 to 130 miles an hour. And we can definitely see some pretty good damage when it comes to that. As you get into Category 4, now we're going to be looking for some extreme damage, considering we're seeing winds gusting anywhere from 130 to 150 miles an hour. And then last but not least, the big dog of all, Category 5, winds well over 150 miles an hour, and catastrophic damage is associated with that category. So those are the different ways that meteorologists at the National Hurricane Center and even at the Weather Channel categorize hurricanes and tries to figure out how strong they are by the wind and then also by the damage. Now, a lot of times when we get too bad of hurricanes, it sometimes becomes life-threatening, and that's why we may ask people to evacuate or leave their homes so that way they can get to a safer spot. Now, as far as where they know, the way we do it is, I guess you could say how close a hurricane is to a particular space. And to know which areas are at the most highest risk, meteorologists use different zones which are indicated by different letters. So our first area is going to be mandatory. This is usually where the hurricane is going to be closest to, where that eye wall is going to be just going right over that. That is the most dangerous area, and that is why it is mandatory and you really must evacuate. As you get a little bit more inland, that is going to be in your medium stage. You really don't have to evacuate, but it might be a good idea, depending on how strong the particular storm is. And then if you live in Zone C, you're way inland, you really don't have to evacuate at all. You're safe where you are. However, if you do feel uncomfortable, then you can obviously leave. But, I guess you could say law enforcement or anything else like that is not worried at all for your safety. And then here's a look at what some evacuations could look like. Let me tell you, we have seen some very, very strong hurricanes within the last couple of years. And let me tell you, when I've been looking at cameras, I've been seeing nothing but all this. So let me tell you, this is not a fake picture. This is a real picture of what some evacuations might look like when we get a massive hurricane. Now, obviously, the aftermath of a hurricane, which is basically, what happens after a hurricane hits, can be absolutely catastrophic. They can do terrific amounts of damage, and this could also include flooding an entire city and destroying millions of structures or even buildings. So here's one picture. You can see this is a well-built house right along the oceanfront or seashore. You can see the downstairs was completely ripped apart. Now it's basically standing on, just a couple of limbs, which is very, very dangerous. I hope that if anybody lived in here, they got out safely and they did not have any damage to their homes. Here's, I think this picture was from probably either in Iraq or Cuba or something like that. You can see, the whole street has been turned from a street to basically a river. You could basically take a car in there and maybe probably turn it into a boat or get your kayak in there, maybe go fishing or something, That kind of thing happens when we see a lot of rainfall over a certain area. Now, the next few slides are going to be showing basically what the different categories, or I guess you could say the different aftermath pictures of a hurricane could look like. So you can see this one, just a house that was well built, completely ripped to shreds. Here's another one, a whole city, a whole neighborhood that has been completely flooded and now turned basically into a river. Here's another one. This was in Puerto Rico. You can see, the whole roof off, and you can basically if you're in a helicopter or a plane, you can basically look down and say hi to the people that were in that building, considering that their whole roof has been completely torn apart. And then here's another one, a road turned into a river. You can see those palm trees swaying in the winds, probably over 100 miles an hour, plenty of flooding going on, and that is also caused by the storm surge, which is caused by all those winds coming on shore, especially if it's high tide. All those winds blowing all that water on shore, that creates storm surge. And if we can get a bad enough hurricane, I've seen storm surge up to 15 feet. For example, like Hurricane Dorian that slammed the northeastern Bahamas a couple of years ago, I saw storm surge basically up to this window right here. So we're probably talking about a good 8 to 9 feet, okay? I'm about 5, maybe 5'5". That is way above my head. So that just gives you a general picture of what storm surge could look like. Now, I want to let you all know that, I guess you could say most of you all know that 2020 was by far the most active hurricane season on record in the United States history, with 35 named storms. And unfortunately, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, aka NOAA, and also the National Hurricane Center, aka NHC, predict that this upcoming hurricane season will be possibly even as active as last year's, or even more active. So here's the latest forecast from the Colorado State University, and then also from the Weather Channel. You can see from about 1991 to all the way to 2020, we usually average about 14 named storms a year, and usually about, I guess you could say 17 named storms from the Colorado State University, and just about under 20 named storms from the Weather Channel. Now you can see right here, now we're getting into our forecast. They're forecasting up to 7 named storms from past years, 8 hurricanes from the Colorado State University, and then also about 8 from the Weather Channel. And as far as major hurricanes go, aka Category 3 or higher, looking at a 3 from past years, about a 4 from Colorado State University, and then also topping out a 4 from the weather company. So that is it as far as my slideshow goes. I do want to actually show you all what we're currently seeing on the enhanced satellites and teach you what they mean. So if you'll just give me just a second to change up my slideshow. Now, the way that I'm going to be getting all of these satellites is by Mike's weather page. I definitely recommend that you all go check it out. It's a really cool page. It has a lot of different tropical satellites and also forecasts on it. Once again, it's spaghettimodels.com, or if you just type Mike's weather page into your browser, you can easily access this too. So first satellite I want to go to is our infrared satellite, and right here. So here is our oopsies. Must have pressed the wrong button. Dang, I cleared it out. Shoot. Crap. Okay, I think I'm good to go. I think I accidentally lost connection real fast there. Alright, as I was saying, there we go. So here's a current look at our infrared satellite, and what this does is it tries to find anything that is firing up in the atmosphere. For example, you can see we got a lot of thunderstorms popping up just across the eastern United States. Also right here across Cuba, you can see all of this area starting to fire up right here. And those are indicating thunderstorms firing up across the lower levels of the atmosphere. And you can see we're definitely starting to see that across the Caribbean Sea, and then also getting into the Gulf of Mexico. And then also as you go down here just off the western coast of Africa, we're also starting to see a couple of areas down there too. So let me go ahead now and show you all what we're currently looking at as far as development goes. Give me just a second. So here is the latest Atlantic Basin tropical outlook. As you can see, we're only seeing one area of minor development. It only has about maybe, I guess you could say, a 20 to 30% chance of development. If it's going to form anywhere, it's going to be forming in this general area right there. We can also go ahead and take a look at our satellite in this general area to see what the satellite or anything might be picking up. So you can kind of see something trying to get started generally in this area. It is rotating this way. So it is rotating basically like an area of high pressure would. You can definitely see we're starting to see a lot more thunderstorms firing up across the northern Yucatan Peninsula. But as far as tropical activity goes, I'm not really seeing that. We're still seeing a couple of thunderstorms firing up across this general area right there. But other than that, I'm not really seeing too much activity, which is definitely a good thing. But once again, as you go ahead and take a look at our Atlantic 5-day, as far as, this area goes, that's our only area of possible development right now as far as the Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean Sea, and then also as far as the whole entire North Atlantic Basin goes, nothing is out there right now, which is definitely a very good thing. And then as we go ahead and take a look at a couple of other satellites right here, here's another look at that system. So you can kind of see we're starting to see a lot more thunderstorms firing up right here. This is all going to be lifting northward, so that's why they have a little bit of an area of concern right in here, because all of this thunderstorm action right here is going to be lifting all northward. So really, we're going to start to see this area start to fire up, especially as we get into the next couple of days. Anybody have any questions for me yet or anything like that? I'd be more than happy to answer them. And then also, here is the visible satellite, and you can see, as far as tropical systems go, nothing right now is in there. These are all the different cloud tops that we're seeing as far as satellites go. We have a satellite way up there, across, and basically in space, and it looks down, and this is actually what the view looks like from outer space. So a very cool satellite to look like. This is why I enjoy forecasting hurricanes and tropical systems so much, is because I get to look at these awesome satellites all day. Let's go ahead and see if we're seeing anything else. So let's go ahead and take a look at our available atmospheric moisture and also the tropical intensity index. Just to say now, this video has turned into a tropical update. So obviously, as I mentioned in my PowerPoint, you really have to have a lot of warm sea surface temperatures, and you can definitely see we're starting to see that across portions of the Gulf of Mexico, getting back into the Caribbean Sea, and then also we're starting to see the water temperatures warm up across portions of the North Atlantic. As far as the Gulf of Mexico goes, we're seeing water temperatures steady right now in the low 80s, getting back basically same down there in the Caribbean Sea, still topping out in the low 80s. And then as you get into the North Atlantic, still topping out in the low 80s, possibly even getting down into the high 70s as you get off the eastern Carolina coast. And then, as we go ahead and take a look at our tropical intensity index, this is where we're seeing, this is basically where all of our areas that are most favorable for tropical development. You can see we're starting to see a lot more action firing up here across the eastern coast of Florida, and then also getting back just to the south of the Gulf Coast. And as you can see, anywhere across the southern and eastern Pacific, highly favorable for development. And let me tell you, we've already had several tropical systems form. Thankfully, they've all been west of Mexico, and they continue to head west. Obviously, they were still tropical storms, so they still got their name. As far as the names go, I'm not exactly sure where we're at here. I think we're maybe I think we're probably at around the third or fourth name storm as of right now. But that can definitely change, especially as we head into the next couple of months. Because also another thing I forgot to mention, right here, this shows you really the time of year that we see the most tropical development. So right here, we're about, I guess you could say right in the middle of this bar. So we're only seeing this much action. However, as we head into middle of July, start of August, maybe middle of August, and then the start of September, we see the action ramp up. So we're on a very small area right there, but as soon as we get into August, we shoot up like heck, y'all. We go from nothing to instantly just storm after storm after storm. And just so that way, the peak of hurricane season is September 10th, which is honestly a really big Debbie Downer for my family, considering my mom's birthday is on September 16th. We can never do anything on her birthday, considering we're always staying inside because of a tropical system hitting us. But unfortunately, we can't control it. That's just how the weather is at this point. So let's go ahead and now take a look at a couple of different other things. Thankfully, right now, I'm not seeing too much action, which is definitely a good thing at this point. Once again, be sure to check out this website at spaghettimodels.com or just search up Mike's weather page. It has a lot of different satellites, tropical intensity indexes, severe weather stuff. It's an absolute amazing website. So I think that is about it for now. Thank you all so much for watching this broadcast and trusting me to bring you up to date on the latest severe weather coverage. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a great kickoff to this year's Summer Fun Bash. Once again, my next episode is going to be this coming Sunday, and I'll be featuring all details about all severe weather types, hurricanes, thunderstorms, tornadoes, supercells, rotating supercells, how meteorologists forecast them, and then also all the different radar types that we use. I just saw your comment. Do you think South Carolina will have a major hit this summer? Oh, Lord, that's a very tough question for me to answer. You're testing my knowledge as a meteorologist. I'm not gonna say no, but I'm not gonna say yes. We've seen some pretty good ones, and we've also seen some pretty small ones. The best thing I can answer to that question is be ready for whatever comes your way. Have a plan in place. Know what to do. Know where to go. God forbid there is a tornado warning. Make sure you're stocked up on all medicines. Make sure that you protect important documents if you have to evacuate. Stock up on food, water, batteries, maybe even get a generator if you're getting one. Try and get some gas, even though I think we might be still on a shortage considering of that pipeline shutdown that happened a couple of weeks ago. But just be prepared for whatever comes your way. I mean, you should really do that anyway when it comes to weather, but especially when it comes to the tropical season, you need to be even more prepared for tropical weather. So, unfortunately, I can't answer your question as of right now. Hurricanes and these tropical systems are so unpredictable, so that's why I can't answer your question. My best advice to you is just be prepared for whatever comes your way, and that's to all of you. Please be prepared for whatever comes your way. I don't care whether it's a hurricane, tropical system, thunderstorm, tornado, blizzard, drought, extreme heat, tsunami, anything like that. Just please always have a plan in place. It is always better to be safe than sorry. Just once again, please have a plan in place. Let me tell you, these little plans could potentially save your life. I know that may not, look much to you, but I'm telling you right now, think about that when your life is in danger, and you make sure that you have a plan in place. So that's the best advice I can give to you. Any other questions? I'll be more than happy to answer them. I'll give you all about another minute or so. I'll give you about to 7:10 to ask any other questions, comments, or concerns you might have. Why is my video buffering? Give you all about another minute or so. I'll get on my phone. I'm watching the stream on my phone so I can see y'all's comments. I think that is about it. It is no problem, Mr. Loki, anytime. I apologize if my thing is buffering. I don't know why it's buffering so much. Alright, so that is it for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, please be sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Click that notification button and also click that like button if you're enjoying the content. And also, please be sure that once again, since you are subscribed to the channel, be sure to watch my next event, which is going to be this upcoming Sunday, where I'm going to be featuring all information about all the different types of severe weather, what impacts they create, how they're forecasted, and the different radar types that meteorologists use to confirm them. So that is it for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great rest of your night.